Welcome to Let Me Know How It Is, a pop culture podcast about animation, TV, movies, comics, and more. We've been getting a lot of news, info, and trailers for a bunch of stuff coming from Marvel and DC Studios. So we're going to jump in and share our reactions, thoughts, and feels to a bunch of the superhero stuff that we know is coming right down the road. I'm Clifton.
I'm Frank Melman.
And I'm Zach Slater.
All right, so we are recording this right on the heels of Thunderbolts Asterisk being out in the theaters for a few weekends. But we are already looking ahead to the future because they are hitting us with teasers and trailers left and right at the moment. Both from Marvel, both from DC. We'll be covering a lot of the big ones that we know are coming up that we're excited about.
I was going to say, it's not even San Diego yet, and we're getting all these trailers.
I know. I don't know what they're going to do then. This episode will be part 1, where we cover the Marvel Cinematic Universe trailers and teasers. Then come back and join us next episode for the DC Universe upcoming projects. But the one we're going to start with is Ironheart.
Yes.
The Disney Plus show, long-awaited Disney Plus show, because it has been a minute since it was announced, since we knew it was coming, and before we saw anything about it. So the quick facts we know about this one: Ironheart is scheduled for release on Disney Plus June 24th, in just a month or so. It stars Dominique Thorne reprising the role of Riri Williams, last seen in Wakanda Forever. It will also feature Anthony Ramos, who possibly most known for Hamilton, but he has been in a bunch of other stuff too. And also Alden Ehrenreich, who many would most likely only know from Solo, the Star Wars adventure. So that's what we know about that one. Trailer was just released. Do y'all have any thoughts on this one?
Well, really quick. So refresh my memory though. Did we know this was coming even before we met the character? Right? Did we know Ironheart was getting a show even before Wakanda Forever came out?
I think so.
I can't remember, but quite possibly that sounds right.
I thought so too. Okay. So it's been a long time.
Yes.
Yes.
It's been a long time, not even since Wakanda Forever. It's been a long time before that too.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it looks good. I'm excited for it from the standpoint of I was not expecting it to be what we get in the trailer, where it looks like someone's bankrolling her, or I thought it was going to be much more of a your standard superhero supervillain thing. But it looks, it looks like from what we got in the trailer, she's being bankrolled by the Hood. Is that what I got from the trailer?
That's what it appears to be. Like maybe he's a venture capitalist in this. I'm not sure what.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what exactly he's doing yet.
No, because in the books, the Hood was a character that appeared in Marvel Comics. I believe it was the first Brian K. Vaughan work at Marvel. I could be wrong about that, but I was pretty sure that's what I would remember correctly.
It was definitely Brian K. Vaughan. It was definitely in the earliest days of his days at Marvel. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was the first miniseries he did, but it quite possibly was. It was certainly among the first of his work.
Yeah, but it's written by Brian K. Vaughan, created by Brian K. Vaughan, and art with Kyle Hotz and Eric Powell of the Goon fame.
Okay.
But anyway, Parker Robbins is like a small-time crook, manages to get his hands on his cloak. This cloak, for lack of a better term, hence the Hood. But the Hood's obviously got different meanings, because Hood also is a name for a small-time crook. You find out that the he gets it off of possibly a demon or another villain. Not that I'm spoiling things, because you'll see,
right.
Because it's in the trailer as well. But he finds that once he puts his hood on, it gives him, there's powers that he can do. He can basically, I think if I remember correctly, can sort of walk on air and turn invisible. And then you find out that the Hood itself has ties to bigger and badder things within the Marvel Universe. And I don't want to spoil who or what that might be. I've heard rumors of where they may have gone a little bit different in the comics with who he's connected to. But again, that's all rumor at this point. And we'll have to see in June whether or not that's the truth. But I like the character from Wakanda Forever. I think she's a fun addition to Marvel. And the trailer itself looked really great. I thought that was fun. was kind of surprised to see Jim Rash in there, the dean
Yeah.
from. I did not realize he was part of this.
Right.
Was part of this project. I'm a fan of his. He was very nice to me when I met him, so I've always been, I've been a fan since Community. Oscar winner Jim Rash, I should say. I
saw him in the trailer, but I didn't place him. I was like, I know that guy. I should know who that guy is.
Yes, actor and voice actor and Oscar winning writer, I believe, is what he won his Oscar for. But anyway, they think it looks good. I'm very excited for it. And again, I kind of agree with Zach that it was one of those things where felt like it was going to be announced to be out, and then we're going to get a trailer, and then it sort of has been moved around in scheduling, I guess maybe as a thing of like to get around phase 4. I don't know whether it was one of those where it's not really tied into what was going on with phase 4. I'm not sure. I guess maybe they did reshoots to fix it, as a lot of the Marvel stuff had to be fixed. So I don't know whether that's the case.
Right.
But it seemed like it should have been much sooner on the slate of things.
Yeah, it is. You can definitely tell it got shuffled.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe something similar to like Born Again, where we know that went into kind of reproduction partway through. I don't know if that happened with this, or if they just, were able to change things if they needed to change anything. But one thing I do remember is we got a reference to the character, the Hood, in What If, in the most recent season of What If, before we ever got the character in.
True.
Before we ever got the character in anything else. And I'm convinced that was not initially supposed to be the plan. I'm convinced that the animation was supposed to have come out after that season of What If was supposed to have come out after Ironheart, so that we would know, like, oh yeah, that's that. Right. But if you don't know from the comics, it is kind of comes out of nowhere in that episode of What If. I do like that episode of What If quite a bit, but yeah, it's definitely a reference to things no one else had seen yet, at least not in the MCU.
Yeah.
So I think that's another sign of it having been shuffled around in the deck of what they wanted to release.
But again, also no real reason given. Maybe we'll get one when it gets closer to the date of it being out. But there's been, as far as I know, there's not been any definitive answer as to why it got moved around.
Right.
Yeah. I'm curious too if Armor Wars had something to do with it too, because Armor Wars was supposed to be a show.
Yeah.
And then that got adjusted to be a movie that they were going to do.
Right.
And so I'm curious if based off of the trailer, we don't really have any connection or anything really Starky or roady
to the rest of the Armor world.
Yeah. But I would be surprised if they didn't talk to each other and they weren't connected in some way. So it does make me kind of go like, oh, I wonder if there was some cutting room floor stuff from Armor Wars that maybe like, well, we can use that, or that would be a cool thing to, what if we rolled it in here? I don't know. Just it's all speculation, but
right.
I thought the open of the trailer was really cool. I thought it started really, really strong. I was surprised. It almost was like a full scene.
Yeah.
That you saw at the start of it, which is a little unconventional. But I thought that was the elevator bit is what I'm talking about, when she's trapped. I thought that was really neat. I thought that was a cool way to kick it off.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like the I agree with you. We got to see a lot more of the process as opposed to the tease of her being in that situation, which I thought the character does a good job of, overcoming a situation that could have been just a tease, and then that would have been it.
And she is a fun character. She is a fun character in the comics. Much more recent creation than the Hood was.
She's a Bendis.
When did she premiere? Like around 2016?
Yeah, she's like 2015, 2016 or something. She was in when Bendis was on Iron Man. What was that? Was that Marvel Now? Was that what that was called?
Possibly. That was like the promotion around 2014, 15, all that.
She was, I want to say, like maybe the second or third arc where she was introduced. But he very quickly got like a second book too with Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's a good run. It's a very good run, actually.
Invincible Iron Man Volume 2, Number 7 from May of 2016.
Okay.
It's Brian Michael Bendis and then art by Mike Deodato. So.
But it'll be fun to see her. It'll be fun to see her again after Wakanda Forever. It's just been a minute.
Yeah.
It has been a minute.
Yes, that's the only thing. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. When Zach had mentioned there was a trailer coming up for Ironheart, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's supposed to be coming out sometime soon, supposedly, unless it gets reshuffled again. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun. See a little bit of science and magic, kind of button heads.
Yeah, I mean, definitely hearing the cast. That's what I thought the angle would be.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, I thought it would be tech versus mysticism.
Right.
And was surprised at the trailer. I mean, I guess it is that, but that's not what it showed us yet. So far. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Do we know how many episodes it is?
I don't know if it's been mentioned.
Okay.
I would imagine probably 6 or 8, but you never know.
Yeah, that's what I would guess. But then every once in a while you get like a Daredevil is going to be like 16 episodes. What?
Right.
Yeah.
So coming up after, not long after, but coming up after Ironheart is Fantastic Four First Steps, scheduled for release on July 25th, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
We did an episode on just the poster.
That's right.
We did like a full episode just talking about the teaser illustration poster they released months and months ago.
Clearly, we have no interest in this film.
Right. We haven't discussed anything really much on it since, but in the meantime, we have gotten a teaser and we have gotten a full trailer. Well, possibly 2. Depending on how you count the teaser. The teaser was a trailer on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But we did just recently get the full trailer that ran with Thunderbolts Asterisk. And that one really shows us more what the world of this Fantastic Four is about. Just going for the facts on this one. It will star Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Eben Moss-Backrack, and it is directed by Matt Shakman, who is one of the creators behind WandaVision. So that's who is bringing us MCU's Fantastic Four, which we have not gotten the MCU Fantastic Four before.
No, we have not. How do we feel so far about it?
It's a brainstorm for sure. I remember I'd forgotten that we did that episode just talking about the image when everybody was sort of like we were kind of speculating because everybody was like, this feels kind of 60s. This feels retro. What are they doing? And now you see like the teaser and the trailer and like, it's like in the 60s.
Yeah.
Right? Like, or an alternate 60s, I think. Right. This is a, I can't remember truly the last time that an MCU trailer came out that made everybody kind of scratch their heads and go, huh?
What is it?
What is going on? Like in a good way. You know what I mean? Like this is one where I felt like after that first teaser came out, everybody was like clamoring to know more about it.
Right.
And one of the things I was thinking about when I was like talking about reactions with like people and stuff like with coworkers and stuff like that is I was like, this is one too where like we are so in the dark about everything for this one. And it's really refreshing and it's really cool.
All right.
So what is your favorite thing from the trailer? What's one thing jumped out from the trailer that you like the most?
Many things. You want to go first, Frank, or?
Sure, I'll go. The Thing looks great.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about Cousin from The Bear, Eben Moss-Backrack, playing Benjamin J. Grimm. It's a good choice.
Yeah,
I know. I've seen some people kind of whine and complain about the voice not being as gruff as what they thought it should be, but I think he sounds great.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple places. Go ahead.
I was gonna jump in when you were done. That was one of the things I was gonna say. Is I actually like that he doesn't sound
like
that he's not doing a voice. I like that he sounds normal.
He doesn't sound like Lawrence Tierney. That sounds like he's got that. Put your dollar in like everybody else. No. I agree. I'm perfectly fine with his voice being what it is. From the first teaser, I thought the shot of Ben, the reflection of his what he looked like before, and then what he looked like as the Thing. I thought those moments are important because that's like Thing 101 is having him be kind cognizant of the fact that he knows that he's no longer, the handsome guy that he used to be, football player, test pilot, all that stuff that went along with it. He's no longer that guy, and to see his reflection where he's just kind of like looking at the TV in the store window, I thought was a nice bit where, like it's a good bit. I'm like, okay, the thing's in good hands.
Yeah.
So far for me, I'm very much, I'm a thing mark to begin with. But, that's the one I was like, you got to nail that character. And it looks like so far from what I've seen, they do.
Mm-hmm.
From like the 2 minutes or 3 minutes we've seen, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The ever-loving blue-eyed thing.
Yep, absolutely.
There's a lot in there that I like. I like I guess what is the Fantastic Car. Even though it's not like a flying thing that
we know of.
I just love the look of it.
That we know of. It may fly.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I'm just, but yeah, we just for what we've seen it, I'm just like, that's really neat looking.
Right.
Yeah, I think they nail really the time frame of it.
Yeah.
From what we think. I think it's the 60s. I mean, it may not be. It may just be like a modern day like 60s aesthetic kind of thing. We don't know. I don't know.
Right.
But it looks really, really great. Like the costuming and the set design and stuff like that. Like it gives me a lot of Darwin Cook vibes.
Yeah.
Right.
In a weird way, especially like frankly what you were talking about when you see like thing like actually on set, like in the replays on the TV screen, and they're like in the space helmets and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it gives me such like Challengers of the Unknown stuff from New Frontier.
Yep.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, it looks great. I like that, and I'll argue with myself in a second, but I like that it feels really optimistic.
Okay.
And I think that that's really, really neat. I think that the fact that, and we're going to do DC at some point too. The fact that Fantastic Four and Superman are both coming out in July and they both look like really like optimistic superhero movies is really also kind of exciting.
Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it at all. I think, so that's neat. Like I just, and it looks like they're nailing the characters too. Like, I mean, anyway, I mean, I'm talking a lot. Clifton, what about you?
The characters are the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
From the trailer, we're just deducing stuff based on the limited information we have. I think it looks like they're skipping over the origin. I think we're getting a truncated version of it.
I was going to mention that. I'm like, how do you guys think we'll get a very FF1 sort of like they're out in their daily lives doing stuff moment?
I do. I think what we see in the trailer is more or less going to be what we see of the origin in the movie. Kind of newsreel-ish, kind of talk show segment-ish.
Okay.
I think that probably will be because they seem to be kind of well established.
Okay.
From everything we see in the trailer. And I do like that choice because we've seen the origin a couple times in different ways so far. And also
done badly in some spots.
Right. Yeah. I mean, mileage may vary.
Right.
But I don't like, I just want to get to the characters.
Right.
That's what I was saying is the most important part. And so like, I'm willing to just be like, yeah, this is the origin, blah, blah, blah. Here's who they are.
Well, no, I'm saying
I'm fine with that.
I'm saying like, will we get like the actual first couple pages of FF1 where they're like with the signal flare and all that stuff?
Right. Like Johnny's working on the car and use it like tea or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Will we get that bit? Do you think?
Maybe. It would be nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice.
Ben in the hat and the oversized coat and the sunglasses. I want that so bad. Oh my God. Do I want to see that so badly on screen?
He needs to be standing by like a street sign that says Yancey.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he does. For sure.
The Yancey Street gang, like, put a kick me sign on his back or something. I want that in the worst way. So I hope we get it.
Right.
Herbie's a nice like little welcome touch.
Right.
That
That's what I was going to say. My favorite thing from the trailer is Herbie.
Is it? Okay,
yeah.
Good. Yeah.
I would not, I was, listen, if we were taking bets on whether or not he was going to be in the movie, I would assuredly be like, no.
I thought what we would get is kind of like what kind of like the Byrne kind of stuff, where Byrne has him in like some of it, And then there's also like kind of like the I thought it'd be more like the he has a robot receptionist in Burns Run also. So we get a little bit. I thought we would have got a little bit of both, but to have him just actually be there is I'm perfectly good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I'm really, really excited. I'm thoroughly impressed. The thing that I'm going to argue with myself about, because I was speaking about how optimistic it is, I will say, even without sort of like the spoiler stuff of who we know appears by the end of both trailers, and so even that aside, I think there's kind of like a melancholy that sort of is also present in the trailer that I can't quite put my finger on why I feel that way, but there is sort of kind of a sadness, you know, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but like a cloud kind of right over the whole thing.
Well, the things we get in the trailer, we do get, she seems to be pregnant.
Yeah.
That's in the trailer.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot, I mean, first steps mean a lot of things, right?
That's
the thing we got to, you know, there's a lot of talk what first steps could possibly be referring to, and that's one of them, right? Is the idea of the first steps that, you know, I don't know. Again, we don't know at this point whether we'll see an actual kid or not.
Right.
You know, but that was where, as soon as there was the thing of like, oh, okay, there's another thing of the first step. I got it. Okay.
So we get Johnny's reaction where he tells Sue she'll be great and then tells Reed, like, you're totally over your head. And
nice.
I think that's kind of the tone of what Reed's story is in the trailer, is that it goes from that to like, oh, world's facing a threat. Reed thinks it might be his fault. How's he gonna protect the world like he protects his family? I think that's the angle that melancholy comes from, at least from what I get from the trailer, because now you have a Reed that is feeling responsible, is feeling, you know, protected. He feels like he's responsible for having caused something, and now because he says like I reached too far, more or less, and they noticed.
Right.
And I think that's kind of the play there, is like he feels like he's over his head all of a sudden for being in their world what seems to be the smartest, most fantastic celebrity this world of this movie has seen. Right. From everything we've seen.
I do feel like there is a subtle nod to the trailer of the Rise of the Silver Surfer. You know, the Chris Evans, Michael Chiklis, Jessica Alba one sequel, because I think that's one of like the best superhero movie trailers ever, because it ends on such a cliffhanger of Johnny chasing after the Silver Surfer and basically like following up into like the stratosphere, and then his flame goes out and you know, Silver Surfer grabs him by the neck and drops him, and the trailer ends and you're like, whoa. Like an unconscious Johnny just falling to the earth. Right. And you're like, right. How's he getting out of that one? And it does feel like that there's like a little bit of a nod to that.
Right. With a different Silver Surfer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who doesn't know? I was going to say the line, but I'm not going to say the line. The one from Ozark. She doesn't know this about.
You can't say that line. You cannot say that line.
She doesn't know this about that.
Right.
Who I think is an interesting choice. Like I think for like of all the characters I thought she might possibly ever play in the MCU, I never ever would have thought this. I know there's a lot of people again that are you know, clutching their pearls and whining about the fact that we're not getting the traditional Silver Surfer, even though that there is a precedent in the comics that where the does everyone know who she's playing? Can we talk about who she's playing?
I would leave it just at Silver Surfer for now, because that's all we see in the trailer.
So that character has been a Silver Surfer. I'll leave it at that. Okay. You can do your own research. So for those that are freaking out, just wait and see the movie. Just calm down. As always,
And I didn't list her in the cast. I will list her in the cast. Okay. That is Julia Garner from Ozark, who is in one of the only good spots of the Sin City sequel. I will add Dame to Kill For. She was, in my opinion, she was part of the only good storyline in Sin City Dame to Kill For. It was her and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I do love that. I do love that storyline in their vignette. Did not care for the rest of the movie, but It was like one of the first things I had ever seen her in, and then I saw her in Ozark after that, and I think she's great.
I always forget that she's in it. I always forget
But she's in Dame to Kill For.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the smaller of the storylines with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but
Gotcha.
it's the one I like. It's the only one I like.
Gotcha.
But yeah, can't wait. John Malkovich is in it somewhere too.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I forgot that.
Yeah.
I forgot that as well.
Yeah, there's thoughts and rumors about who he's playing, but no, it's nothing that's been confirmed yet. So.
Oh yeah, just speaking to her take on Silver Surfer, I have noticed that when we're getting MCU things that have been not MCU things before,
Right.
they like to do things differently.
Sure.
Because they just don't want to do what the other people did exactly before. So we got, like, when we got Spider-Man Homecoming, we got Vulture, who had never been on camera yet before.
Right.
There'd been talk of him. There'd been probably stuff in development for, the Sony movies that didn't happen that had him. But so that's who they went for. And I feel like they went with this version of Silver Surfer because we had a version of Silver Surfer over at Fox. So they just wanted to do something a little different, make it their own thing, not give us exactly something we've seen before, but give us something with the heart of characters and story from the comics, but just done differently. I have noticed, I think that they do that.
Yeah.
Like our MJ in the Spider-Mans is a different MJ than, than the MJs we had other times before. I think it's very intentional on them. And I think that's kind of their angle here on Fantastic Four 2 is to try to give us something that's steps apart from the both Fox iterations, the old Jessica Alba, Chris Evans one, and the 2015 Michael B. Jordan, Miles Teller one.
Right.
I think those are intentional choices.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. It's a long time coming.
Yeah.
It's a long time coming to get the MCU Fantastic Four.
I'm excited for it.
I can't wait to see a certain humanoid that's not a giant cloud this time around too.
What?
They lucked out because they like going along with what you're saying, Clifton, like to give us something that we haven't seen before. They lucked out that it was a cloud the first time. Like, we could just do the take and it's fresh.
Yeah.
It's a guy. It's just a guy.
Right.
So FF leads us into our next one, which was introduced to us on March 28th of this year when Marvel started a live stream on YouTube showing an empty warehouse and the camera dollied to show an empty chair that had Chris Hemsworth's name on the back of it.
Right.
Then 10 minutes or so later, new music was heard and the camera dollied to reveal an empty chair with Vanessa Kirby's name on it. Then 10 minutes or so later, it moved to Anthony Mackie's empty chair. This went on for the next 5.5 hours.
Nice.
Until 27 chairs and names had been revealed 10 minutes apart.
Jeez.
For the whole afternoon, culminating in Robert Downey Jr. walking on screen and sitting in the final chair. So that is how they introduced the massive cast of Avengers Doomsday, which had been set for release on May 1st, 2026, but we now know it has been delayed about 6 months until December 18th, 2026. Stars 27 people.
So far.
At least. And counting. And is directed by the Russos.
Yes.
Returning. And making their return to Marvel after Avengers Endgame. You can go watch this 5.5 hour live stream still on YouTube if you want. There's also a 1 minute and 37-second version of it that you can also watch on YouTube and save yourself an afternoon.
I'll watch that one.
I'll wait for the Snyder cut. That'll be even longer.
Right. And black and white.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
But out of the 27 names, which name are you most excited to see? Out of the 27 names of whichever you can remember out of the 27 names that were revealed.
Let me see if I can pull up a Marvel chair list real quick, because I didn't bother to watch the chairs just because I figured it was going to be a no. Now I'm getting it. Now I'm getting ads for Marvel chairs.
That was such a weird day. I was like, I was like really busy at work, and people were talking to me like, "Are you seeing the Marvel?" Like, I was like, "Wait, what? There empty chairs? Like, what? What's going on? Huh? Like, is it new people? Is it new names? No. I'm like, oh, okay. It was just weird. Neat event though. That's cool. I mean, that's a really fun way to do like.
The only thing I remember the day of was people like the memes started popping up of like, you all try to say that the Marvel MCU is dead, right, but you all just spent 5 hours watching chairs.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like that's a hell of a flex to be like, I'm just going to show chairs for 5 hours and people are going to be riveted to whose names are on the back of these chairs.
Mm-hmm. Right. With little snippets of music, introducing each chair. That's all it was.
I mean, there a lot of them are people that are they're people that I figured were going to be in.
Right. Right.
But there was also a fair amount, and I think that was my biggest thing was like when I finally like looking or hearing of who was all in there. It was just the idea of some choices. So really, I was surprised because again, some of those characters I thought, well, they're certainly not going to be in this because we haven't seen, like, for example, the who's the guy that played, we've all seen a list, right? I'm not spoiling for anybody.
Right. No, we can talk the whole list. We're talking the publicly announced information.
No, the guy that played Namor, like I was surprised to see his name. I was like, okay. Right. Like I'm not, I get it. Was it Tenochtitlan
Mejia?
There it is.
Yep.
But that's I was surprised. I liked him as Namor, but I was definitely like, oh, okay, cool. He's gonna be in this.
Right.
It's been a minute for him too.
Well, that was my other thing. Was like, there's been nothing with the Kukulkan ever since. There's not even been as far as I know, a headline in the background of a Marvel project that's mentioned them. Nothing. After this major event in Wakanda. So I was kind of like, well, that's cool. But no, I mean, I think the some of the deeper cuts for the X-Men kind of surprised me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
one of the we can talk more about what we think, speculate based on this information, what we think that means.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I mean, like you said, not like a lot of it was names, like you were, asking if it was new names. No, it's not new names, not for the most part.
Right.
Even the new ones are really old names somehow. Right. Yeah. But like, it just was interesting that they did the event before Thunderbolts Asterix came out, and and their names are on there too. So I'm like, okay, I guess they're, what happens there, and how are they going to fit in? But they're going to be there. And likewise, the second name, like the second chair after Chris Hemsworth, was Vanessa Kirby. She's literally the second one announced. So it's like, okay, FF's in now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And their movie's not out yet. So it just leads you to be like, how is that going to happen?
Right.
We'll have to wait and see. And so, yeah, Tenochtitlan Mejia, the Namor was a surprising one because, it's been a minute and we saw Wakanda Forever. Right. I liked it. I did like that take of Namor. Actually, I thought it was an interesting angle to play with, and I thought he was good. Mm-hmm. So I was happy to see him more, and now we will potentially get him interacting with Fantastic Four, which is fantastic. And something I was hoping would happen. Maybe it'll happen in this. They're all part of the same lineup, so it could.
Right.
I'd be excited for that.
Yeah.
But then. Yeah, it's the X-Men, and we can't get into that now.
Right.
Sure.
We've seen some of them in some capacity in some projects, even in MCU so far. But just seeing that, like, yeah, it's the old Fox crew. We got Kelsey
Right.
Grammer. We got Kelsey Grammer back. We got Patrick Stewart back. We got Alan Cumming. Alan Cumming's back.
Yeah.
Who expected
Which
that?
I'm hyped for. I'm like,
Right.
is that opening scene of X2 is
it's great.
superb.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's a terrific scene.
So I'm glad he's playing. I'm glad he was willing to come back and play along, because he's one of my favorite characters from the comic. I thought it was great in X2. I loved X2. But it's the old Fox crew.
Right.
That's my only thing about that one is
Yeah.
can we get away from the old Fox crew?
That's the surprising thing to me. It really is. I mean, that is, and I will freely admit right now that, like, I'm behind on MCU stuff. There's movies I haven't seen, there's shows I haven't seen yet. And just because fandom kind of sucks, they all like to spoil everything. So, like, I think I know all the stingers and who is showing up and things. So there was no name that, like, I was surprised. Right. That I went like, oh, I didn't know about that yet. Like, I knew all that stuff, right? Like, Channing Tatum. Like, long had been spoiled for me.
Again, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. But
right.
Yeah.
So, but what gets me though is I'm so shocked at the staying power of, like, the Fox X-Men stuff.
Yeah.
I really.
Are you really?
I think all of us just assumed that, no, they're recasting everything. Like, they're recasting everybody.
We got an all new Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I thought. I thought when Hugh Jackman came back for Deadpool, that was just like maybe a one-off thing, that was just going to be, okay, this is too good to pass up. Like, we never got it, like, in any real way.
Right.
So okay, so here it is. Like, just to, like, all right, everybody, here's a nice treat for you, that, like, here's this thing that you always wanted that you never got, and we're giving it to you now. Right? But, like, when I'm seeing, I'm just like, oh man, okay, so we're getting Ian McKellen again. We're getting Patrick Stewart again, right? And we're getting and Alan Cumming is coming. I'm like, wow, everybody. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah.
Yep. James Marsden. Yeah. It's everyone.
Yeah.
There is the connection where, Kevin Feige was the Donners, like, protege on them, right? Isn't that where he started as a production and as a producer, was for Lauren Shuller Donner, like an assistant to Lauren Shuller Donner on X-Men 2. So I guess I mean a lot to him too.
Yeah.
It was his formative years in film. So there is that connection too, where I can see him respecting it and wanting to play with those characters in the new universe too.
And I'm not throwing any shade about it, because, like, a lot of those movies I like. Like, we're talking like X-Men 2, I really, really love. Right. But and Days of Future Past I like a lot too, and everything. But it's just kind of funny that, like, every time I think we turn the page on that cast, it comes back in some way, right?
They keep pulling me back in.
Yeah, it's like,
right.
Like it was a big deal, I thought, when they all came back for Days of Future Past. Like, I didn't think that was going to be a possible thing. I thought, like, a lot of those guys I thought had moved on.
A little long in the tooth, they moved on. But no, I there is, without getting too inside baseball and about storylines and ruining stuff for people, there's a reason why we're getting all that we're getting. Based on what I think we're going to adapt for this. And obviously Secret Wars is no secret is what we're getting, and, Doomsday. But there is, there is an in-universe MCU version for reason why we're getting what we're getting.
Right.
And we need, these characters to come back, because, again, you can't just throw a whole brand. I mean, you could, but they're not going to throw a whole brand new team of kids, X-Men out there to deal with, whatever's going on. Because I guess they're going to wait till all the dust is settled from this phase, and then I'd imagine this is where we get our reboot for a lot of this stuff.
Right.
But yeah, it's one of those things. When I saw those names, I'm like, oh wow, they're really going to go with this. And again, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone if you haven't read either the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars or the original The original one with what's it, Mike Zeck and was it Jim Shooter on that. But either one of those, like we're gonna get a lot of from column A and a lot of from column B, as well as some other stuff. Why we need quite this many characters. So
right.
And possibly more.
And possibly,
possibly more.
I mean, the thought process is we're going to get a whole another side of chairs, because there's a lot of noticeable people missing from these chairs. A lot of characters, a lot of actors. As you said, Hugh Jackman coming back, his chair's not there, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's one. And then who else?
In the vehicle for a lot of that stuff, I don't think Ryan Reynolds didn't have a chair, right?
No, that's the other one. That's another big one. And then what's another one that you guys noticed that probably should have been there that we haven't got yet?
No Tom Holland.
Right?
Yeah. Jeremy Renner, I saw people talking about. No.
Mm-hmm.
Benedict Cumberbatch, I think, was another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch.
And no Brie Larson.
Right.
Yeah.
No Aman Vellani.
Mm-hmm. What about Photon? What about, because if you've seen the Marvels,
right?
There's connecting tissue there from the Marvels to this event.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff that a lot of people that were not mentioned. Again, doesn't mean they're not going to be in it. Yeah. I think between Doomsday and between that and Secret War or Secret Wars, you'll get. I think I think they learned their lesson that might as well kick the door open for any character that's ever and from Spider-Verse. I think might as well kick the door open and let any version of ever outside of comics or in comics be a part of this. Why not? If you're going to go in on the multiverse and then the fact that there's all these variants, then do it.
Yeah.
So,
but you asked the question, like, who am I most excited for? I think I will co-sign on both your guys' choices in that I think surprising the X-Men and Namor. Mm-hmm. I will agree completely with those guys, just because I do think everybody kind of forgot about Namor.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good take. It was a fun take, and I think a real standout aspect of that movie, I think. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, if I'm talking excitement, who am I excited about? I still got to say Robert Downey.
Are you?
Just from a performance aspect, like I'm just so curious what he's going to do with it.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm definitely curious. I don't know if I'm still okay with it. I'm still, I wrestle with it a lot.
Right.
I really
You're still
do.
in a
Yeah, I
am.
am.
You're still stuck there.
I'm always like, okay, I guess, sure. I mean, I've nothing against Robert Downey Jr. I think he's great. I just think it's, if you'd give me a list of actors that you said, pick your Dr. Doom, I don't know if that's the one I would have gone with for Victor.
Right.
I don't even think it would have been my list.
Right. No, he wasn't on anybody's list. I think that's kind of the surprising thing. We talked long about, I think, the announcement at Comic-Con when it happened. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I've made peace with the fact that that's what we're getting.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And it's not even, and it really is the performance for me. It's not even the take. It's not even like on like what's on the page and the idea from a creative aspect. Like I'm so curious, like what he's going to do with it. And is he going to disappear in that role?
I hope so.
In a way that I think like surprises people, or is he just gonna have like just a fun take? Like I'm curious if we're gonna get like history repeating itself, and are we gonna have an instance of, well, there's Doom before Robert Downey, and then there's Doom after Robert Downey.
No,
and you know what I mean? I don't think so, but we'll see.
I don't think we will. I hope we don't. Just saying. No, but I think the other one that I said the most. Did we ask about most excited for, or did I just blow past that and just say what I was surprised by?
You can tell me who you're most excited for. You might have. I don't remember if that's when you said Namor, or was that the most surprising one?
That was surprising.
Okay, so you can tell us the most excited one.
Most excited, I gotta be honest, is Tom Hiddleston.
I was going to say he was actually. I would list him as a surprising one.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Even though like he's been such a mainstay in all the way through Infinity War, and then surprisingly after Infinity and he's been such a mainstay. And like, it's just that his show, like the show, which is great. And I loved it all. It just feels like it, it's kind of removed and it was setting up to be removed. So to be like, oh, like he's coming right back into it. Like that was a little surprising to me.
It felt like a page turn.
Yeah.
That is one of the things I'm not behind on. I did see good. Loki and it feels like a page turn to me. It felt like, okay, he's done.
Right.
Well, and we have a variant here that like she's going to carry it on, but we also did it in a way where like if he ever gets the itch and wants to come back at some point, he will. And I didn't think it was going to be so fast.
Well, it did put him into a position at the end of that show where you're like, oh yeah, like it could run right into this stuff if they wanted to. He's right there for it.
Well, I mean, I think with the way they leave him in Loki, I always, I still wanted it to be a moment of, of having, while I don't think the character needs it, I think it would be good to have the character have that acknowledgement of Thor knowing what happened.
Right.
I think would be a nice moment. But again, if we don't, there's no telling what or how, how involved. Again, these are a lot of names, and this is not even like everybody that I think is in this movie. Yeah. That's the thing. Like these are, I mean, even if they make it, if it's probably going to be I would imagine 3 hours and change for both of them, but you never know.
Assume so, or else everyone's getting like less than a minute of screen time.
Right, but that's my point. Is like it's going to be a lot of characters and trying to make it all work and flow. And not that I doubt that they can do it. It's just one of those things where it's an already, even if we know full well we're probably going to get another row of chairs. It's a pretty stacked deck already.
Right.
Yeah, sure is. And there's no Guardians too, which is another one.
True. Yeah.
And there was after, like the first things after this big announcement, I think it was Robert Downey Jr. that put out a statement, like a comment that just said, that's what you call a deep bench. And then the Marvel Studios account replied to him and was like, so far, or something to that effect. Like, we're not done yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's could be even more players in this movie. I mean, there's potential of like a rotation between this movie and next movie where some don't make it
right
out of the first movie, and we bring in different ones into Secret War the following year. And it's sort of a rotational cast done that way is a possibility, so that some get this one movie and some get the next movie. Right. We don't know yet. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. And it is funny, like just thinking, now that it's clearly a Avengers / X-Men / Fantastic Four / Thunderbolts asterisk.
Yeah.
Movie with a couple extra people like Namor, like New Black Panther, Letitia Wright.
Yeah.
Coming on from Wakanda Forever, and Winston Duke, I should say, as well, as being one of the kind of outsiders, not one of those four teams, but it definitely is a movie for those four teams, like X-Men versus Fantastic Four versus Avengers versus Thunderbolts asterisk.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what's going to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. It's exciting though.
Now in production is how that 5.5 hour event ended.
Oh, I have a last thing on Doomsday. Leave Venom out of it. Leave Tom Hardy's Venom out of it. That's mine. Okay, sorry.
But bring in Morbius. Yeah, Third Morbin times the charm.
Yep.
Third Morbin times the charm.
It's Morbin time. Right. Absolutely.
And Madam Web. Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Moving on to the last main one we're going to hit from Marvel. Comes out in July 31st, scheduled for July 31st, 2026, Spider-Man 4. We don't know if the Doomsday delay will affect the release date for this one, but so far it is still scheduled for July 31st, so we're going with that. The things we know about this one is it is going to be Tom Holland reprising the role of Peter Parker Spider-Man. We're not sure who else from returning cast is coming around. It is going to be directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who is the director of Shang-Chi. So they shuffled him over to Spider-Man for this one when John Watts decided to pursue other projects. And that is the basics data we know about that. Moving on to a couple announcements, because this one's still a little bit out and they haven't given us teasers or anything. We've really just got a few tidbit announcements that they gave us. One is the new title. They did give us the title, and it is probably the most obvious title they could have chosen for this movie, in my opinion. I was talking to a friend of our show, Mike, when the new title was announced, and he was like, "Oh, they gave a new title." I was like, "Yes, but it's probably what you think it is." And he guessed it in one. So that title is Brand New Day.
Yep.
And it makes sense.
Sure. It's loaded.
Right. It is loaded. I mean, it's kind of like, it's a comic story. It's a comic story that followed One More Day, which is kind of the comic story they kind of were influenced by in No Way Home. They did take pieces of that story. So this was what followed it immediately in the comics, and this is what will follow it in the movies, where it's kind of a reset for Peter Parker. So that much makes sense, and not really much. I mean, it's kind of obvious when you see how No Way Home ended, where it's like they wanted to turn a new page and give us a different angle on Peter.
Right.
So now we're getting that.
Well, I think they're kind of trolling people. I mean, because Brand New Day is for the comic fans is a polarizing story. I know, for people, and I kind of dig that they're kind of like poking people with it. A little bit.
Well, so, I mean, so was One More Day too.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I mean, like sometimes I do think that there's something to be said about them getting to be a second pass on some of these stories and kind of cleaning up and just kind of taking what works and what doesn't work and just kind of keeping the good parts in it. And I do think that they do have a way of kind of delivering on those sort of things. I mean, not perfect. I mean, like, I like the show, but I know Secret Invasion was kind of a polarizing show for people also. But no, I mean it seems natural to me. I mean, just given where the character is at the end of No Way Home, I mean, like, I think everybody kind of knows the jumping on point for this, right? Like, all right, like, what's his next chapter gonna be like?
Right.
And that is the hook of the movie in some way. Like,
Well, I mean, the way they leave at the end of as you said, of No Way Home, the spoiler, it's the classic costume. It's no longer Iron Spider. It's no longer Stark Tech. It's no longer let's go to space. It's it's a much more dialed back, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, as opposed to what we've got. Which again, I'm not slamming those movies or his appearances in Avengers stuff or other movies. I enjoyed Tom Holland and all that stuff, but it definitely looks like they are scaling things back to give him a much more grounded feel. Like I was talking it over with Tommy, and Tommy and I were saying, I just don't think we're going to see him in, we may, but I don't know. There's rumors of what for a while there was rumors of what that movie was going to be and where it fell in the schedule of things, that it might be one last hurrah of being, the much bigger Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. But there's also, like we've said, the way No Way Home leaves it looks like it's going to be, Peter's back to being the guy that swings around the neighborhood and saves the day, which is I'm perfectly fine with too.
And struggles to pay for rent.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm perfectly fine with, if that's what they want to do. But we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, that's it. I'm surprised when I saw the announcement they had a date for it, I was like, are you sure about that? Because there's been nothing there's been nothing really announced or for it. And as far as I know, last I heard, Tom Holland was planning a wedding. Like that was what I thought the last bit I saw about Tom Holland. So, and if you ever had to plan one of those things, celebrity or not, they're large undertakings.
Right.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
So we'll see. Like, we'll see. It's either way. I'm happy for another Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah, me too.
Are we going to talk about the only casting news that we have?
Yeah, that is our only other tidbit of confirmed information we have about it. And that is that Sadie Sink of Stranger Things, Max from Stranger Things, has been cast as somebody in Brand New Day.
Yep.
And we don't know who.
Nope. We think it's possibly the Rhino, but we're not
Right,
certain.
right.
Sure.
But nobody knows. I think when we talked amongst ourselves, who do we think possibly? What were the ones we came up with?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so much speculation out there, and so much speculation is just what redhead characters are there.
Right.
And it's like, well, like wigs exist, so like we don't really, we don't have to narrow it down to only redheaded characters.
She's playing Matt Murdock. No.
right.
She'd be great.
Yeah, she would.
But everyone's like she's Mary Jane. I was like, I don't think she's Mary Jane. Like we have we have an MJ.
Yeah.
Like we have that universe's clearly intentionally stated MJ.
Right.
In that universe. I don't think she's Mary Jane. Maybe I don't think so. So. I think we got our MJ for that universe.
Yes.
When we were talking about it, I remember I think Tommy and I were leaning towards like a Spider-Gwen version of Gwen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, possibly still multiverse shenanigans, possibly like maybe that's just how it is in the universe. We don't know because we haven't seen those characters in MCU yet. So that's one where Tommy and I were leaning. I think you and I, and maybe Tommy as well, were hoping, our long shot hope was that she is Angelica Jones' Firestar.
Oh my God. Please let that be truth.
And that they're doing a Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends angle to introduce mutants into MCU and Spider-Man, because that was my introduction to the concept of Marvel mutants, was Bobby and Angelica Jones on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yep. Let's speak that into existence. If anyone's listening, please.
So that's our long shot hope. I don't know. I don't know how likely, amazing. But it'd
be so cool.
That's what we're hoping, is she's Firestar.
She'd be a great Firestar. She'd be awesome as Firestar. Yeah, I again, that was something I'm hoping for. Again, like we said, it just could be any redheaded character. She could be Medusa.
I don't remember who I said.
She could be Medusa for all we know. We don't know. Right. But my number one hope is Firestar. It just would be cool. It'd be a lot of fun. You know, we really haven't got to see Peter kind of pal around with kids his own age who have powers.
Right.
You know, it's long shot. She's also could be not long shot. I'm not saying the character. It's a long shot. She could also be the MCU's new version of Jean Grey. But I don't think that's what we're gonna get. I think we'll see one of those chairs later where it'll be Famke Johnson coming back to be Jean. We'll have to wait and see on that.
There was one take, again, playing like kind of multiversal shenanigans. It was somebody online, so I can't remember who it was, or I'd give credit, but they were saying, like, maybe she could be like Mayday. Maybe she could be Mayday Parker, Spider-Girl.
Wow. Okay.
From somewhere.
That could be fun.
That could be.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
I don't remember who I said when we were talking about it. But I think I've changed my go-to for it. I don't think I said whoever it was. I think I may have just said like, oh, she's probably going to be like Gwen or somebody, or Deborah, or just like,
just like plain old love interest.
Yeah.
Sally Averill.
right. Yeah. Just want to, Betty Brant. So, one of those.
Right.
Oh, no. We got Betty already, right? Betty's already in.
Betty's been in there. Liz sort of has been in there. Liz Allen sort of was Liz.
Right.
But one of the many loves.
But no, I think it's possible. I think it's possible that she's going to be Black Cat.
Okay.
I think because it's one of those things, like, we haven't gotten it in any other Spider-Man movie, so it's new.
True.
Came kind of close once. Kinda.
Yeah.
Right.
A deleted scene, right?
Yeah.
I think also, given his situation where nobody remembers him, I think that it's kind of like it's just easy for there to be some kind of misunderstanding where he's framed, and people think Spider-Man's is a thief,
right? Right. Well, it's interesting you say that, because again, the other thing of being if he doesn't really know, people don't know him, right? He has nobody. The idea that classically in the comics, when they get together, she's not interested in him as Peter Parker.
Right.
Which is an interesting idea if they're going to bring her into it, because, again, he's kind of like, he doesn't have anybody right now, at least where we left him. Like, there is nobody for Peter Parker. So being Spider-Man might be the only, kind of outlet he has to to be around, to make new friends, I guess.
And I think that that's a possibility too, because I don't think that Zendaya is not going to be in the next one also.
Right.
And so I do think that it does, just from a structural standpoint, it makes for an interesting like switcheroo on things, right? Where like Spider-Man has now got the romantic interest thing, and Peter doesn't. And Peter's got kind of more of like this shaky ground kind of like kind of thing. And I do think that it would be a little bit of a flip on things, and skipping ahead for Spider-Man 2 really quick too, but assuming that he's going to pop in Avengers stuff down the line.
Right.
I think a fun part too is going to be like, he's going to have to be reintroduced to those characters.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to get another, like he's going to meet, Thor and Ant-Man. Like, he's going to have to meet all those guys again. Like, nobody's going to remember him. And I think that that's going to be kind of a fun thing for Tom Holland to play, who I'm just so impressed with his take on Spider-Man. Like, he's just so good. Like,
I just wonder if we're going to get a lot of, like, what I thought about that whole bit too, how they're going to play that. Is he going to just be like, this is who I am? Or are we going to get the classic, half mask up, and he's going to talk to them that way and, like, eat a slice of pizza while he's explaining his old bit and keep his identity secret from here on out? Because again, that would be, an old school thing for them to do, along with this whole return to, like, the kind of classic spandexy red and blue, traditional costume. So yeah. The only other thing I was gonna say is, like, the only other bit of news that I people are speculating as for villains, which again, it's one of those things where, again, there's so many, it could be any of them. But I think people have leaned into the idea based off the games.
Mm-hmm.
And again, going back to a much more street level, but at the same time, super powered villain. The only name that I keep hearing kicked around is Mr. Negative.
Right, yeah.
If you're familiar with that character. So again, I don't know. There's no one's been cast. There's been no one's made a fist yet and said this is who it is. I know a lot of people were kind of speculating that, with the recent stuff with Daredevil coming into the fold, finally back into the MCU proper. There's a lot of people that obviously want to see Wilson Fisk. I'm one of them. Vincent D'Onofrio's take on Wilson Fisk is the best. It's just so good as that character. And after we got to see him in
Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Hawkeye and Echo.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. He's in both of those. Because I was going to say one, but again, I was not sure who was caught up on what. But I knew Hawkeye, and then I couldn't remember Echo. But I think the idea of if you've seen Daredevil, which I won't spoil anything, it'd be an interesting thing to see, young Tom Holland have to deal with Vincent D'Onofrio in some way or form. Just the clash of the two would be awesome. So
yeah, for sure.
I'd love to have some Kingpin in there finally with Spider-Man, since that's where he first appeared. So I know he's.
I've been itching for Chameleon for a long time, and I don't think this is going to be the instance where we get it, just because I think it's gonna. I think as we did Skrulls like not that long ago, and I think it's gonna feel a little
Skrulls, right?
It's gonna feel a little like same gimmick, but.
I mean, if you're going back if you're going all the way back to Amazing 1, like, that's the first costume villain he deals with, right?
Guest starring who?
The Fantastic Four.
There we go.
So you could have that happen. Like, that could be a thing where the Chameleon, and again, if you're talking Spider-Man being framed, that's all the way back to Amazing 1 as well.
Sure. Yeah.
So, there's no reason why they couldn't do it if you're going to go all the way back to the start and not do the origin. That's the most logical place to start.
The other space I think possibly we may go, because we have a jilted J. Jonah Jameson, is maybe we get Scorpion, who we've also not seen done yet,
or the Spider Slayers. Right, that could work too. All those Black Books funded J. Jonah Jameson. Villains would be fun. Scorpion would be cool. So.
And let's throw the Enforcers in there, because what the hell?
Well, I mean, I think you and I would be first in line for an Enforcer Spider-Man movie.
For sure.
Who doesn't love Ox Montana and Fancy Dan?
Right.
Yeah, they're terrific. So,
and we do have a J. Jonah Jameson that would pay for vigilantes in this time around.
We do.
For sure. Yeah, I'm all for it. Let's do it. Let's write this thing.
Yeah. We're available.
Yeah.
So I think that is all of the Marvel projects. We have solid information that they've given us on from MCU. The rest is kind of tidbits, maybe slight announcements, rumors and speculation.
Yeah.
But these are the ones we've gotten solid info for, or trailers for, or both. It's a lot, though. There's a lot still coming. A lot.
Yeah.
They're still going strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm excited to see. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm still excited to see what's coming.
Yeah. I've fallen behind for a lot of reasons, but I'm still very, very much into it and excited about it. And, and I do think that they've handled sort of the creative curveballs that they had to deal with as good as you can. I mean, like it's the fact that they had to readjust in such a way and to still have like people like really excited about it, is really, really cool, I think.
They did get millions of people to watch 5.5 hours of Cheers. Yeah. Any last thoughts for the Marvel projects?
Give Michael, how do you say his name?
Giacchino.
Give him Blade. Come on.
Yeah.
Just let him direct Blade. He's got chops. Werewolf by Night is so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. Just give it to it. Yep. It's right in front of your face, guys.
Yeah.
Or let him do a Tomb of Dracula. I'm all for that too.
Yes. All in on that.
I would love a Halloween Tomb of Dracula episode.
Yeah.
With a Marv Wolfman cameo. That would be amazing. Make it happen, MCU people.
Yeah.
Would love it.
Yeah, for sure.
He's missing from the chairs. There's no Jack Russell in the chairs.
No Jack
Russell. That's true. Yeah, good point.
That is
I thought about that. You're right. No Elsa Bloodstone either.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those characters we haven't seen.
And no Mark Spector.
Yeah, that's a big one too.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac.
That's right.
No, that's a good point. Yeah. Definitely surprised that his name's not there. Not that he won't be, but just not yet.
He's so good. He was so good in it.
There could still be lots of chairs.
Next round of chairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next 5.5 hour live stream of empty chairs. Tatiana Maslany, maybe they'll all be there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So that wraps up part 1, our look at upcoming MCU projects. Be sure to join us next episode for part 2, where we discuss DC Universe projects, Peacemaker Season 2, and Superman. In the meantime, hit us up on social media. You can find us on Blue Sky at Let Me Know How It Is. And let us know which projects you're looking forward to, what you're most excited about, and which out of all these announcements you found the most surprising. You can check out all of our past episodes at our website, letmeknowhowitis.com, as well as anywhere you find podcasts. Just please, if you enjoy the show and feel so inclined, give us a like or follow and leave us a review. It really helps us out. Finally, if you would like to suggest a topic, send it our way by email at info@letmeknowhowitis.com. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, thanks for listening.